Hi guys, today we will talk about the new upcoming game, Black Myth Zhong Kui. At Gamescom 2025, Game Science pulled off a surprise that no one saw coming. Just when the showcase seemed to be wrapping up, Geoff Keighley returned to the stage for one last announcement. He introduced a new hero as the ghost-catching god who wanders between hell and earth, and the screen filled with cinematic images that stunned the audience. This was the reveal of Black Myth Zhong Kui, the next chapter in the growing Black Myth series. The teaser trailer, although short, left a lasting impression. It showed Zhong Kui clad in heavy Taoist-style armor, his imposing figure steady and commanding. He rode a massive tiger, a creature of power and protection in Chinese lore. Ahead of him walked two monstrous-looking men carrying a large staff-like object as part of his eerie procession. In the background, a mist-covered mountain loomed, shrouding the scene in mystery and dread. Two terrified men looked on in disbelief, their fear captured in every frame. No words were spoken in the teaser, yet the imagery alone told us volumes. This is not a hero of whimsy or mischief, but a stern judge of spirits, a relentless banisher of evil. Game Science, the studio behind this new project, is no stranger to grand mythological storytelling. Their previous title, Black Myth Wukong, launched in 2024 and quickly became one of the most celebrated games of the year. It shattered sales records, impressed critics, and wowed players with its blend of Souls-like combat, jaw-dropping visuals, and faithful adaptation of Journey to the West. That game cemented Game Science as one of the most promising developers in the world, and now, just a year later, they are daring to announce a follow-up project. But Black Myth Zhong Kui is not a direct sequel. Instead, it's a new entry in the same series, designed as a standalone story rooted in a completely different corner of Chinese mythology. The developers have said clearly that Zhong Kui's tale is separate from Wukong's, though both share the same foundation, an action role-playing experience that challenges players, tells a mythic story, and brings ancient legends to life with cutting-edge technology. In other words, Black Myth is shaping up to be an anthology series, with each game focusing on a different legendary hero. So who is Zhong Kui, and why is he such an important figure? In Chinese folklore, Zhong Kui is a legendary demon queller, often referred to as the king of ghosts. His origin story is both tragic and inspiring. The tale goes that he was once a gifted scholar during the Tang dynasty. He traveled to the capital city of Chang'an to take the imperial examination, a grueling test that could secure him a prestigious position in government. Despite his brilliance, he was rejected, not for lack of knowledge, but because of his appearance. In despair, he took his own life at the palace gates. But this was not the end of Zhong Kui's journey. In the underworld, the King of Hell recognized his potential and gave him a new purpose: to hunt down and banish malevolent spirits. From then on, Zhong Kui became a figure both feared and revered. He vowed to rid the world of demons, and his image became a symbol of protection. To this day, families in China place paintings of Zhong Kui on their doors during Lunar New Year to keep evil away. In some legends, he is even said to roam the human world during festivals, accompanied by a host of captured demons who now serve him. It's this rich mythology that Game Science is tapping into for their new game. While they have not shared specific story details yet, they did say the game will be set against the backdrop of the classic folktale known as Zhong Kui banishing evil. This means the story could include famous episodes like the Dream of Emperor Xuanzong, where Zhong Kui appeared to capture a thieving demon, devour it whole, and cure the emperor of his sickness. With such a wealth of folklore to draw from, the possibilities for storytelling are immense. As for gameplay, Game Science has confirmed that Black Myth Zhong Kui will once again be a single-player action RPG. Just like Wukong, it will be built in Unreal Engine 5, which means players can expect the same breathtaking graphical fidelity that made Wukong one of the most visually impressive games of its time. The game will release on PC and all major consoles, though no release date has been announced yet. In fact, the developers openly admitted they don't even have an outline finished for the story or mechanics, and that this announcement was more about confirming the project's existence than showcasing features. Still, we can speculate based on what we know about the character. In Wukong, the Monkey King's abilities included shape-shifting, cloud dashing, and using his magical staff to battle mythical beasts. For Zhong Kui, the combat style will likely be very different. Instead of playful trickery, we may see brutal swordplay, talisman-based exorcisms, and perhaps even the ability to summon spirits to fight by his side. Imagine defeating a ghostly enemy and then gaining the power to call upon it later in battle. Such a mechanic mechanic would fit perfectly with Zhong Kui's legend of enslaving demons to serve him. The developers themselves hinted at this difference. They said players won't be playing a monkey role this time, and they're still exploring what unique mechanics Zhong Kui will bring. They want fans of Wukong to feel at home with the core gameplay, but also surprised by new features that catch them off guard. They've also said they want to take a hard look at what worked and what didn't in Wukong, so that Zhong Kui can feel both familiar and improved. Of course, being a Black Myth game, it's safe to expect a high level of difficulty. If you played Wukong, you know that game science leans heavily into Souls-like combat design. Boss fights are punishing, enemies are relentless, and every victory feels earned. Early commentary about Zhong Kui suggests the same philosophy will carry over: punishing combat, epic bosses, and a demand for skill and patience from players. The tone of the game, however, might be darker than Wukong. While the Monkey King's tale had moments of whimsy and adventure, Zhong Kui's story is more about death, ghosts, and exorcism. This could mean the game will lean into eerie, suspenseful environments, haunted temples, cursed villages, and hellish underworld landscapes. If so, Zhong Kui could carve out its own identity not just through mechanics, but also through tone and atmosphere. It's also worth mentioning the cultural significance. With Wukong, game science proved that a story rooted in Chinese literature could resonate with a global audience. Now, with Zhong Kui, they are doubling down on their mission to bring more Chinese mythology to the world of AAA gaming. For many players outside of Asia, Zhong Kui may be an unfamiliar character, but that makes his story all the more intriguing. Just as Norse mythology provided fertile ground for games like God of War, Chinese folklore is proving to be a treasure trove for game science. The reception to the announcement has been overwhelmingly positive. Fans praised the visuals of the teaser, calling Zhong Kui's design both terrifying and majestic. The image of him riding a massive tiger has already become iconic, sparking discussions and fan art online. Critics pointed out that game science isn't resting on their laurels after Wukong's success. Instead, they're showing ambition, expanding their universe, and proving they're here to stay. Even though the game is years away, the buzz is strong, and many are already calling it one of the most anticipated titles of the future. Comparisons to Wukong are inevitable, and it's clear that both games share DNA. They are built on the same engine, target the same platforms, and belong to the same genre, but the differences are just as important. Wukong was about a trickster hero on a legendary journey. Zhong Kui will be about a grim exorcist on a mission to cleanse the world of spirits. The combat styles, the story beats, and the overall tone will be different, giving each game its own identity while still fitting under the Black Myth umbrella. One interesting point the developers made is that Zhong Kui represents a temporary pause in Wukong's westward journey. In other words, while Zhong Kui is the focus for now, they haven't abandoned the Monkey King. They even tease that the westward journey will continue in some form in the future. This suggests that game science has long-term plans for the Black Myth series, possibly with multiple games exploring different heroes, and perhaps even crossover elements down the line. For now though, Zhong Kui is the star, and even though the game is in its early stages, the potential is massive. Imagine stepping into the shoes of the ghost-catching god, traveling across ancient China, and facing down horrifying spirits drawn straight from folklore. Picture the scale of boss fights, the depth of combat systems, and the beauty of environments powered by Unreal Engine 5. If Wukong was game science's way of proving they could deliver a world-class action RPG, Zhong Kui could be their way of refining the formula and pushing it to new heights. So while we don't know when it will release or what exact mechanics it will feature, one thing is certain: Black Myth Zhong Kui is a game worth keeping an eye on. It represents the growth of a new franchise, one that celebrates Chinese mythology in a way the gaming world has never seen before. With each announcement, game science is showing that they are not just making games, but building a legacy of mythological storytelling on a global stage. Thanks for watching, see you next time.